If it starts streaming. Da 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 da. Hey, there it is. Says I'm live. That's good.
Says you're live. It's not Memorex.
Right? Yeah, that's right. I wonder if there's a way to share this. Can we share it? I don't know how to share it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see. What's it say here? Closed captions are disabled. I haven't used this software in a hot minute, so y'all just gonna have to bear with me. Although, okay, let me try something real quick, and we'll get on that in a minute. In a minute. Live.
It says Facebook, YouTube, or Substack.
What about it?
Well, that's all it says underneath it.
Is that where I am?
No, I don't. Oh, here it is. Share. It's right here.
Where?
Right there.
All right. Okay. I have it to go to the thing. Can you share it on Truth?
I will share it on Truth.
Da, 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 da.
X. I don't have yours. I'll just stick it on mine.
There you go.
Okay. So
We're
there's
sharing,
that.
sharing. So
Yeah. Now leave.
and sharing.
Then I'll go back here and, it doesn't have, wait a minute, copy URL. Oh yeah, then I'll go over here and put it
That's
on,
right.
on Truth. Right?
That's right.
Paste. Okay. Alright, I put it on my X and Truth.
All right. Let's see, where was this? Let's see. We're live. Where's the Memorex? Right?
No.
I don't remember exactly how to use this thing exactly, but I believe this. The video will show, and I can always download it, upload it, yada yada, to the thing. Let me see. Visit my channel. Okay. Okay, there it is. And then there's the chat room. Okay, there it is.
Where's your, how do you get to your page? Where's
How do I get to my page?
on Truth, how do you get to,
My page.
on Truth, is this home?
Yes.
That's not it. Discover, alerts,
Yes.
Truth, plus, discover, message, groups, feeds, bookmarks.
Excuse me. Let me see.
Maybe I have to hit
Excuse me.
that. Nope. Oh yeah, that did it. Maybe I have to hit that. There you are. Oh yeah, that did it. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I have a kitty cat sleeping behind me.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I have a kitty cat sleeping behind me. So, how's the sound? Can you hear it? Is it okay? How's the sound? Can you hear it? Is it okay?
It's a little weak,
Can you hear it?
but
Is it okay?
it's a little weak.
It might just be you.
Well, I just turned mine up.
It might just be you.
My
Okay,
just
okay.
turned mine up.
It might just be you.
My
Okay,
just
okay.
turned mine up.
I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right on. I sound. Here it tells me that I'm right. It's bouncing back and forth.
From
I
what?
think from the one I have here open too.
Oh.
Ah.
So it was you.
It was me all the time. Okay. So then we have this and that. Okay. So what I did, okay. So you need to not do that.
Okay.
Just mute it. There you go. You can watch it. You just can't mute. You gotta mute
No,
yourself.
that's fine.
Da, da,
I
da,
don't
da.
need to watch it. I'm sitting right here in the room.
You can watch it over there, right? It's what we call growing pains.
I'm right here.
You're right here. You can
Hello,
see it.
folks.
Hello, everybody. Okay. So, we're gonna start because this is going to be. I'm gonna upload it to my channel on YouTube, where you guys, if you're not familiar with our channel, I used to call it Homemade Theology, and before that I had a channel called Let's Learn the Bible Together. And over the last few years, I've been growing in my understanding of the Bible, and so we'll talk about it now, right? I know people do like they they share, they do video games here and all that, but why you? I've seen this one YouTuber. All he does is talk while he does the live stream. So, all right, so let's talk about this. So the theme of the day. Okay, so let's talk about Christianity just in general, right? It's a religion that has a lot of color to it, right? You have your Catholics, even though some Protestants say that Catholics are not Christians, your, what do you call them, Orthodox, who say they're Christians, but not the other ones. So you have your Protestant, Catholics, Christians, and then every Protestant denomination out there that you can think of, what do you call them? Baptists, Presbyterians, Lutheran, Methodists, Pentecostals, then the non-denominational ones, and they all follow Jesus Christ, right? They all purport to be followers of Jesus and to try to do the things that he says to do and all this and that. Here's the thing, friends. Uh, let me. I'm trying to figure out myself. Okay, so the one thing that if you go to any churches, even if you go to the Catholic churches, right? You sort of are told that Jesus grew up in Judea and Galilee, and you kind of sort of have a sense that there was some sort of Jewishness going on there and all that, but we are not. We are not. Let me see what this is. We are not necessarily. That's not front and center. What I've figured out over the last few years is the Christianity that we all have has been modified, mediated, and kind of put through a filter and a lens that has to do with man-made stuff starting from the first century all the way to now. You have I've talked about this. You have your reformers who shaped Christianity in a certain way. And before that, you had the Great Schism. I think is when the Orthodox and the Catholics split, the Roman Catholics. So you have that split there. And then before that, you have split after split, separation after separation. But the very first separation that was shaped what we have today as Christianity is the separation between the Jewish tradition, religion, and what we now call Christianity. So, I mean, you have things like the Council of Nicaea, that is 200 years, almost 300 years away from Jesus and his teachings. And so people will talk about the people from the like they're the fathers of Christianity. And think about this. 300 years is a whole lot of time for us humans. How many generations would you say that is? 4, 5 generations, depending on how you count a generation. I mean, lifespans back then were 20, 30, 30, what is it? I remember reading 20 to 40 years for a man, 20 to 30 for a woman. So it's a lot of people in between, okay? And my biggest thing is if you look at the book of Acts, there was already confusion about the message of Jesus Christ, okay? About what he was teaching and who he was and all that. Here's the problem. Every church, every denomination, every person has, and every pastor, preacher, teacher has their own idea of who Jesus is, and that's who they're trying to present to you. So, I got tired of that, and so what I've been doing is studying and reading about the Hebraic context of where Jesus was born. And one of the biggest questions, the first one that I wanted to kind of go over today is, did Jesus learn the Torah while he was on the earth, or was he divinely, was that something that he just acquired divinely? Now, here's the thing. We know from Luke that Jesus was grew up in knowledge and strength and something like that. I think the verse says. So he grew up and he started as a baby. He started as a young. Then he was a young man of 12. And here's the thing. There's that passage where he went into the temple and he was obviously. He was advanced for a 12-year-old because everybody was so impressed. But let me tell you something. A 12-year-old in that context, in that day and age, would have been far more knowledgeable on the Bible. They would have grown up with it, its stories while they were walking and talking, and mom would have taught him all these things about it. So I'll tell you what I know about that. When the way the education would go would be not girls but boys. Okay, the girls would be educated at home, and this is in the first century. Okay, so here, the other thing that you have to understand, that depending on where in history you are when it comes to the Bible, certain things were applicable for regarding education, healthcare, social context, political context, all this stuff. So in Jesus's time, what the boys would go to something similar to school, where they would learn their ABCs, and that would be the basic. And really, by the time they were done learning how to read and write, they were done. Their education was done. They would go home to learn the trade from mom and dad or from whoever. After that, the most advanced kids, the best of the best, they would be taken up and they would be taught further into the Torah, the law, and all this and that. Okay, and then after that, only the greatest of the greatest would be chosen to study under a certain rabbi, or to learn how to be a rabbi themselves. And so there, like I said, there is probably so a couple things that I've been looking into is Jesus probably would have been one of those people, one of those students that excelled in the Torah and the law. He was trained by, to be a rabbi. Okay, and here's the interesting part. So, one thing that we always in the Gospels, the Pharisees are portrayed as hyper legalistic. They don't understand the law, all that. But the fact of the matter is that they were knowledgeable. Okay, they were the spiritual leaders of the time, and so Paul was a Pharisee. Okay, and it's very likely that So I've heard or read that Jesus would have been part of that Pharisee training, educational. Um, Under what was the name of that? Heliel, I think it was the name of the person, the teacher, and that was, from that time, that would have known the Torah, that they would have learned and studied a lot from this. So the problem with that, the problem we have today, is we lost all of that. I tell you, I grew up in Mexico, and the Jesus that we know is blonde and blue-eyed.
Yeah. An Italian guy.
An Italian dude.
Uh-huh.
That was not Jesus. Okay? And so we have lost all context of who Jesus was when he was here on the earth. His life, somehow we think that the knowledge that he had was divine and all that. But I had a discussion in a Facebook group that I belong to about it. I posed this question, and I had all kinds of great answers. But there was this one gentleman that said that he learned the Torah, but his wisdom was divine. And I can 100% agree with that. I think that he had the wisdom of God, the Spirit of God in him, but he had to learn, because Jesus is supposed to be our advocate. He's supposed to be the one that can mediate between us and God. And one of the important things about that is that he would know what it's like to be a human in all its glorious reality and all its weakness. So, when you said, remember that he was taken to the wilderness to be tempted. It only works if he was truly tempted. Okay? So he had to be human. He had to have understood the way that we as humans feel, how hard it is for some of us to acquire knowledge and all of that. So, yeah, it's it's one good question to ponder, and that's what the Bible does. Is it's supposed to be meditation literature. You meditate on these things, question it, try to understand it, and figure out things about what's going on. But so, why do I bring all this up? Because everybody has a claim. Everybody loves to claim Jesus for themselves. You don't know the real Jesus if you say this. You don't know the real Jesus if you say that. And the fact of the matter is, neither do they, unless you put forward unless you remember to always include the Jewishness of Jesus into his studies, into studying him. That's not, and I hear that all the time. Every time I make this particular comment, I hear all the time, well, that means that you want us all to be Jewish. Actually, no. If you read the book of Acts, chapter 15, it tells you what we're supposed to do. We have all in us the moral law. Okay, the one that tells you that killing people is wrong, stealing is wrong, disobeying your mom and dad is wrong, and all that. Okay, but contextually, at the time in the first century, there were animal sacrifices, and things there was all this paganism going on. And what does the book of Acts tell them? Do not get involved with any of that. Don't eat anything with the blood. Don't eat anything that was strangled or offered to an idol. Okay? Not because anything that means, it's just because if someone else sees you that is weak in the faith, right? They'll think that's okay. And the other thing is, prohibition is sexual immorality. And which one of those two would be relevant today? Well, obviously, we don't do sacrifices anymore. The temple is gone, so sacrifices are not possible. But sexual immorality is still possible. And so that's one of those things that they're still applicable today. Is the law applicable to us still today? In a way, yes. And I had just finished reading a book, and I need to make like I said before, I need to do a commentary on it. But some of the any way you look at it, some of the laws that were in the Levitical laws and in Deuteronomy, they still very much applicable to us today. It's just we have to look at the context of what does this mean? How is this applicable to me? How would I work it into my everyday life, so to speak, right? And according to Jesus, it all boils down to love neighbor, love God, right? Now, what I'm proposing, what I've been trying to do, and I will continue to do in our channel, is look back, sort of kind of sweep away doctrine and tradition that was not part of Jesus' life. Jesus was not a Christian. Paul was not a Christian. Not a single person in the New Testament was a Christian. They were all Jews, except for the Gentiles, obviously. But they were Jews. The writers, and they
Except
were.
for that blonde-haired feller.
But they were all Jewish people.
Whoever he may be.
But really, they were all Jewish people. And we don't know, what do you know about the Jewish context of their lives? Nothing. You don't, do you? Or, I mean, if you're a careful student and you start asking questions, I mean, so for instance, parables. Those were not invented by Jesus. He was walking into a tradition that was old, that was all over the Old Testament, okay? Or the Hebrew Bible, however you want to call it. So parables are an old tradition. And there was a lot going on. The vacuum, okay, the Bible was written in a cultural context, okay? There was the Jews, the Jerusalem, the Jewish, the Hebrews, the Jews were under the oppression of the Roman Empire. And since they had been sent into exile, there have been one after the other empire had been oppressing them. Okay, so that matters. Before that, Alexander the Great conquered the known world, and the Jews were part of the known world. And so now they lived in a world that was very Hellenistic. Okay, which means it has a Greek tradition. So how did that influence them? Plato was very much read, and here's why this is important. Let me just say this real quick, and then we'll end it early. I think did I do the 30 minutes? Has it been 30 minutes? What time is it? 8:20. Okay, we're gonna do 23 minutes right now. But okay. This is like
stretch it on out.
This is really important actually. You know, like I just said, Plato was part of it. They were in a Hellenistic environment, and I lost my train of thought. Wait, okay, what was I saying? The Hellenistic, Plato. This is really, really important, actually. Okay, I got it. Now, when you read your Bible, and when you read the text in the New Testament, and when you read things like Plato, and things like, even further on, what's the other philosopher? Plato, Socrates, Philo, Josephus, who was a historian, or all these guys, okay, right? This is the elite of the elite you're reading about. They're not writing about you and I, your everyday Joe Schmo, first century. Right? They're talking about the elites, the people up there, the ones that they write books about. Nobody really writes books about the you and I, okay, the everyday dude. So their lives, when they talk, all this philosophizing, all this navel gazing that they did in the time, was done by people they were elite, above the everyday life. So how did your everyday person practice Judaism or the religion of the time? I'm going to tell you something that is going to shock you probably. Okay? While we had the temple, and they had the temple, the second temple, obviously you have the priests and the men that went in and did all their sacrifices and everything else. But who was partial and who was the one that who was the priest at home? It was not the dad. It was not the men. The guy was out there doing other things. It was the women. The mediator religion in their home. Okay? That's something that we miss a lot. And maybe in the next week when we do a live stream, we will talk about how big that influence is, how influential women were, and how we don't see them because of the fact that we don't write. Okay, so let me put it this way. My husband talks a lot about the Battle of Gettysburg. And he tells me, do you know why we know so much about the Battle of Gettysburg? And I said, no, why? And he says, because there's a lot of people that survived the Battle of Gettysburg, and everybody wrote about it. But was that the biggest, baddest battle ever? Was it?
Nope, that would be Vicksburg.
Okay.
That was the true turning point.
Exactly. People, the winners write the books, or, and then put it another way, the books are written by those that are highly educated
and
survived and have survived to tell the story their own way to benefit what they want. Okay, so who writes the stories? Men did. Okay, and the thing is that the fact that there's women at all in the Bible that they talk about makes it so that they were highly unique. That's one thing, and yeah, it's amazing, guys. Think about it. Who writes the history? The survivors, the winners, and they can make it sound however they want. At any rate, we're gonna end it right here. I hope that this helps you in some way. We'll come back next week around the same time on Wednesday, and we'll find a subject to talk about. All right. Bye.